Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Spiritual Spotlight series. Today, I am joined by Sharon Farber. She's a medium, mentor, teacher, and author of Choosing to be a Medium. Sharon, thank you so much for coming on Spiritual Spotlight series. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to be here too.
Yay. So, Sharon, can you maybe share your background in sociology and massage therapy and maybe how that influenced your journey into mediumship?
Well, I've always liked to help people, and I thought I could do that with sociology, and I did. Old people, Medicaid, things like that, but it wasn't that helpful. And then did you ask about massage? Was that the
Yes, I
other one?
did.
I still do a little bit of massage.
I
I
love that.
I have three clients left that I can't seem to let go of. One of them I've been massaging since 1988. Yes, 1988. So that was much more helpful healing one-on-one, but so my intention has always been to help people and help with healing. And
Yeah.
I guess that's how it's led me to this, which I feel is super healing and helpful.
Absolutely. So maybe what was the catalyst that made you decide to become a medium, and how did you initially overcome the skepticism around learning mediumship?
That's a great question. I didn't even know anything about mediumship. I wasn't one of those mediums who saw spirit people since they were 3 years old. At about 14 years ago, somebody invited me to a mediumship demonstration. And I thought, oh, well, that sounds interesting. Nothing, no burning passion to go. And it was amazing. And I watched, it was a small group. I think, there were about 10 of us. And the
Mm.
medium got beautiful connections for everybody there, connected with my firstborn dog and a close friend. And I just saw how amazing it was. And then I invited her to come give mediumship demonstrations once a month at my massage center. And
Mhm.
I got to see again how amazing it was. And then I thought, I want to do that. The other catalyst was that I massaged a man who had pain in his chest, which I believe is from his heart, and he had a daughter pass at age 11
Oh, so
um,
sad.
in a hospital. She was in the hospital for undiagnosed abdominal pain, and she died from a ruptured appendix in the hospital. And here's the man a year later with wondering why he has chest
Chest
pain,
pain.
heart
Yeah.
pain. Anyway, that was the catalyst of like, we need more mediums, because if this man and his wife could see a medium, they'd connect with the daughter would explain how she's fine, it wasn't their fault, they shouldn't feel terrible for the rest of their lives. They're going to grieve for everybody, but they shouldn't feel like it was their fault. So
Yeah.
those two things, I experienced mediumship, saw how amazing it was. Then I had this man, and I thought, I want to do that. And then I've heard hundreds and hundreds of times since then, I've heard, oh, I didn't think you could learn to be a medium. I thought you had to be born that way. And I just said, well, we'll find out. And I read books and took classes and started giving practice readings. And I got my first connection and I jumped up and down. I was like, oh my God, I can do it. And then I just have put almost all of my passion and focus into developing to be the best medium I possibly can in the past like 14 years.
Wow. I love that. So, how did your training at the Arthur Findlay College with various esteemed mediums and shape your skills and approach to mediumship?
Well, the school is amazing. That's what I went there in 2012 for the first time. And I figured, well, if I'm going to study this, I might as well go to the best school there is. It's like the Harvard or
Yeah,
medium.
it's like, woo!
It's more like the Hogwarts of mediumship. I went there and I'm in a school, an old castle-like building with 100 people, a dozen mediumship teachers and 90 students or so, and realized that, yes, I'm meant to be doing this. And it was incredible. At the school, they have training from like 9:30 in the morning till 9:30 at night. You also stay there and there's community. And incredible teachers,
Yeah.
all on the same wavelength. For example, evidential mediumship, you need to have evidence. It's not like I have a grandma in the kitchen wearing an apron. Is that your grandma? No, evidence and ethics and across the board belief that mediumship is healing and safe and that the spirit world is full of love and light. So
but
yeah, so it was a great place to start. I've gone 3 more week sessions since then. I went back in 2014, 2017, and last December.
I love that you have, even though like you've already gone to school, that you continue to develop your skill and your craft. And it's probably like under, unwrapping more and more layers to your skills and your abilities. You brought up a good point about the type of mediums that there are. What kind of medium would you say that you are? Are you an evidential medium, a trance medium? Like what would you characterize yourself as?
I used the title medium, but I'm definitely an evidential medium, meaning all that means is that you provide enough evidence that people really know their spirit person's there.
Yeah, I
So
love that.
at trance medium, I've been studying trance for years now, but I haven't quite got it yet. Mental mediumship is the vanilla, most common mediumship where you give a reading to a person or to a group of people and you talk in the third person. Usually, I've got a tall man here and he's da 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 da, who recognizes this man. Where in trance mediumship, you invite a spirit person to come so close, you allow them to speak through you, and it's different like that.
I will say that I did take a trance mediumship course with Lisa Williams, and it was fascinating. And to have a spirit like sit on you and feel like, and then you take over their characteristics. And I know you've experienced this. It's just for anyone that's learning to wants to get into that, it's fascinating. Like to feel that and to be like, taking on like how they're drinking a coffee or smoking a cigarette or having a, it's almost like channeling, but it's different. It's so much fun.
I like to point out when I teach people about trance is
Yeah.
that not being possessed, they're not being,
No.
that it's this beautiful communion,
Yeah.
intentional union between the medium and the spirit person. And
Yeah.
also, it's not like Hollywood and it's safe and wonderful like that. Although
It's
some people who try it get a little freaked out having a spirit person so close.
absolutely. Absolutely. I like that you also teach your students, which we'll get into, it's safe. You have consent. Like it's a very safe practice as long as you have boundaries and energetic protections. And we'll definitely get more into that. So I want to jump into your book, Choosing to be a Medium has been widely recognized. Can you tell us about the process of writing it and the impact that maybe it's had on its readers? And she has, for those that are on video, she's got this beautiful cover and I love it. And maybe tell us a little about the cover because you did say there was a story behind it.
Oh, it's um well, about the book first.
Yeah, the important thing, the meat.
The important part that I wrote the book is because I already mentioned how many people question the possibility that you can learn to be a medium.
Yeah.
And my mission is to let people know that you can develop mediumship. I teach with a if I can do it, so can you idea. And
Mhm.
the working title was How to Become a Medium When You're Not Born That Way, or Are You? And the publishers, that's a bit long, and they came up with this one. I'm like, ooh, I like it. The
Mhm.
whole title is Choosing to be a Medium, Experience and Share the Healing Wonder of Spirit Communication. But I like the choosing to be a medium. Well, there's the whole part about where I had a lot of support from the spirit world to write the book. I'm not somebody who goes on about my spirit guides. Oh, my spirit guides told me this or that, but it was kind of crazy. I'm not somebody who ever wanted to write a book or
Mm.
ever wrote much. I don't have a history of writing. The last time I wrote anything would have probably been in college. Oh yeah,
Wow.
other than a few poems. But anyway, I thought there was a need for people to know that you don't have to be a third generation medium. You don't have to see spirit people spontaneously in order to learn how to do it. So I had a lot of support, guidance from the other side. They found me an agent, they found me a publisher. It was kind of crazy. That's kind of less likely than winning the lottery. And so that all happened, and I get to share my story.
Yeah.
And just about the cover, the publisher didn't want the same old covers with clouds and things. So they came up with this horrid cover that looks like it should be the cover of a scrapbooking book. And through the whole rest of the process of writing the book, I'm like, yep, I'll do that. I'll do that. Great idea. I'll do that, until we got to the cover. And I was like, no, and had to explain why that wouldn't work. And then we ended up with this, and I love this cover.
It's a beautiful cover. And you brought it up a couple times that, choosing to be a medium, you're right. Being a psychic, being a medium, you don't have to be born into it. It is something that a craft can be learned. It takes dedication. And I really respect the fact that you're giving, accolades to the fact that you don't have to be born into it. I don't have to be a 17 generation, a healer to be a healer. And have you maybe had encountered some people that are a little hesitant to believe that they can actually learn that?
Oh, they're the best ones. The people who show up for my beginner class. I teach a 5-hour online beginner mediumship class, usually at least once a month, aside
Nice.
from in-person things and retreats and longer classes. But that's the one where a lot of the times people, oh, well, I've been doing this, I've been doing that. I do tarot and I sometimes see spirit people, and they want to learn how to use it intentionally.
Mhm.
They want the boundaries, but there are the people who show up like, well, I read your book and it says that you can do it, and I haven't done it. I'm a real beginner. Those are the exciting students. And I get to watch them generally that day in the beginner class give their first validated connection and watch their face light up. So
Um,
that is my real passion. The people like, can I do this? Can I do that? And then holding their hands, give them the guidance and support that I didn't receive when I wanted to learn, and then watch them blossom. And then some of them continue and become just amazing mediums.
I
It's
love that.
very, very wonderful.
It sounds like it's part of your soul's mission. In the beginning, you said that you noticed that there was a real need for mediums, and the fact that you're developing and helping shape these beautiful mediums that, can give transformational healing messages is so important. And I like that you're part of that mission for giving healing. So
Fulfilling,
go ahead.
fulfilling was the word I was looking for before when I said wonderful.
I love
And
that.
yes, I can do more by training literally hundreds of other mediums who can go on than just giving the amount of readings I could do.
Absolutely. The ripple effect alone, I love that. So you have a very hands-on approach in your classes and retreats. Maybe what are some key elements you focus on to help your students develop their mediumship abilities?
They need to do mediumship. There's one key thing. You learn enough. So this is how it is. This is how you perceive. This is how you ground, prepare, set your intention, etc., etc., etc. But it's all about giving readings.
Yeah.
I gave a beginner class, and then a few months later, one of the students asked for a one-on-one mentorship with me, and I said, so and she's like, I'm not progressing. I can't do it. I said, how many practice readings did you do? And she said, none. I said, you can't sit alone in your bedroom. You can't just talk to your own people, because I can't practice mediumship with my dad or my grandma, because I know what they're like. I know everything about them.
Yeah.
In order to develop, you need to give practice readings to other people whose loved ones you don't know. That's the hugest thing,
Yeah.
because that's how you get information. And then the person you're giving the reading to says, yes, yes, oh my God, maybe they cry. And that's how you learn that you're really doing it. So the classes, especially the retreats, like 3-day classes,
Mhm.
it's a little bit of lecture and a lot of, okay, you're going to work in pairs. We're going to work in a group. We're going to work in all these interesting different ways to push you, challenge you, stretch you, but it's all about doing the work. Trying to learn mediumship without giving readings is like trying to learn to swim without going in water.
That is the best analogy. Thank you. I love that. It's so true though, because how many people have you encountered that have learned these amazing healing modalities, but yet they don't practice the art in which they just learned? And it's like, well, you can't be an energy healer and not give sessions. Like you have to walk the talk. Like you have to do it.
I'm a healer also. I'm a
Yeah.
Reiki master of heal. I've been doing healing for 35 years. You can do healing on yourself.
Of
It's
course.
just not as,
Profound.
yeah. I
I also like the validation, like you said, like
yeah,
seeing people when you've trained them and they're getting those ahas
yes.
and building up their confidence and building up their skill set. We're not going to be 100% all the time, but if
No,
when you get that validation and it's like, yeah, I can do this. Some days you might be off, but most days I might be on. I
right.
love
I
that.
have 4 online mediumship development circles, and they're filled with my students and other random people, and they come every week. Some people come to more than one, and the whole thing, it's 90 minutes of giving readings. Everybody has about 10 minutes to give a reading, and they're just doing it again and again and again. I have people who've been sitting in my circle for 4 years. They just come every week.
Now for your you just brought up your mediumship development circles. Do they have to have taken your classes or can anybody drop into those?
Well, they're mostly full, right? Well,
Okay.
right now I have one session open Wednesdays at noon. Otherwise, they're usually full because I only take 8 people. But no,
Nice.
they're for anybody who's had other training, beginners, people who are amazing mediums and just like to be in a supported practice, safe practice place.
I love that.
There are a lot
Can
of cancellations this summer. So if anybody wanted to hop in and
yeah,
it's really reasonably priced
I
and all
love
that.
that. I love that. That's perfect. I love that you're offering a safe space also for people just to practice and, work on their skills. And for you as the mentor to be like, yeah, I think you're going in the right direction here.
Yep.
I like
Yeah.
that. Validation is important. Can you maybe describe a particularly memorable reading or demonstration that you did that reinforced your belief in mediumship and its healing powers?
Each people ask me that each reading, each demonstration reinforces that. So I'll just do the last demo I did was
Sure.
Wednesday, Tuesday, the most recent Tuesday we had. And it was just 3 people in person. And I got connections to this person's, I don't exactly remember at the moment because I'm on the spot here, but I got validated people for 2 out of the 3 people. And one of the women didn't have a lot of close people. She knew one of the friends that came through. Oh, and she knew her grandma because her mom was there and the grandmother mother. So she knew her, but it was more about the mother. But anyway, she was saying, I'm really lucky. I don't have a lot of people in spirit. And this is towards the end. And it's nice when you get a strong connection for everybody there. And she's going on for the 3rd time about, well, I don't really have any close people in spirit. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I have this light tan colored dog for you. They remind me of a fox. There's kind of pointed ears. And I went on and on. She and her friend both start crying. So it doesn't have to be spirit people.
Yeah.
Her dog came through this one-on-one love bond, how the dog was there for her. She was there for the dog. There was a cameo appearance from a German Shepherd.
I love
And,
that.
I saw a rabbit. And I was like, I had a rabbit too. Yes, I had a rabbit. But so I just figured that was what I want to do in a demonstration is touch everybody there.
Yeah.
If not everybody, if it's a larger demonstration, not everybody's going to get a reading, but my intention is to show the healing wonder of mediumship and
Yeah.
touch everybody's hearts. So I just thought the last demo was cool.
Yeah.
Well, if she doesn't have anybody really significant that she's desperate to hear from, but then no one expected me to bring through her dog, and then to watch her friend crying too.
I
That was
love
really
that.
cool. As for individual readings,
Yeah.
there's not really significant ones. They're all about people's children, parents, best friends, spouses, and other loved ones in spirit.
I love that.
Several times I've given readings in demo and somebody's like, okay, I have to leave now to go to the funeral, or the funeral's tomorrow. So sometimes it's like that.
Wow. Do you ever recommend that people wait or are you okay with giving a reading for somebody that just recently passed?
I don't want to know anything about the
Okay.
people who come to me. So I don't generally get to have that conversation. They don't generally say, so-and-so just passed, should I get a reading?
Gotcha.
But overall, I say if you lost somebody super close to you,
Hmm.
spouse, child, somebody super close, it's good to wait a couple months, not because the spirit people can't come through. The spirit people can come through immediately, but because if people are in profound grief, the
Yeah.
acute part, and they're desperate and needy, they might not be as open and receptive to the reading as if they give themselves a little bit of time to heal. But some of those people make an appointment, and I'm getting their mother, and the mother's only been gone 3.5 weeks. And I get this beautiful thing they told me at the end, and I'm like, wow, okay, well, they were ready. Somebody who
Wow.
was like that, mother comes through beautiful. She purchased a reading for her sister and kind of encouraged, pressured the sister to have it. The sister was not ready, and that didn't go over well.
Yeah.
So it's all about the embodied people and if they're ready.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, how do you balance your roles as a medium, mentor, teacher, and healer while also pursuing your passion for art?
Art is gone. Art is the backstage. I'm lucky if I get to paint a painting once or twice a year.
Wow.
Couple paintings I painted are sitting on my painting thing. They're not even matted or framed. So the
Wow.
backstage, I don't do much healing. I just have there are a couple massage clients I can't get rid of. They won't mind me saying it.
Yeah.
And I do some healing, but it's all about the mediumship,
Yeah. I
giving
love that.
readings, teaching, and mentorship. That all blends in together perfectly. I
Excellent.
wouldn't want to be giving 5 readings a day. That wouldn't be good. For me, it's a great balance of teaching and giving readings and some demonstrations.
So, what advice do you give to individuals who are just beginning to explore their mediumship abilities and feel uncertain maybe about their potential?
You can do it if you want to. If you want to put in the time, the energy, and the passion, you can do it. I think that one of the most harmful ideas from the you have to be born this way people
Mm,
is that, oh, well, actually, everybody can learn to do it a little bit. But if you weren't born this way, if you don't have this gift, you'll never be really good. That's horrid, because that means even if you get your first connection and you realize you can do it, it's not like, oh my God, I'm going to pursue this. It's like, oh, they say I'll never be good. It's terrible. So I want to over, anyway, I want to compensate for people who say that and say, if this is your passion, just do it. When people say you have kids who want to learn instruments, you don't say, you don't have perfect pitch. You're not writing symphonies at the age of 5. You're never going to be good at music. You shouldn't go to elementary school band. You shouldn't be in the high school band because you're not born that way. It's not this gift. That's terrible, isn't it?
yeah.
I don't know why people have this idea that with mediumship, you should be born this way. So if you want to do it, do it. And then, like I said before, it's like beating a dead horse. You got to practice, 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 give readings. Give
Yeah.
readings to people you don't know. If you're giving readings to your best friend or your family and you know the spirit people, that's harder. Give readings to people you don't know. And if people don't have anybody to give readings to, I have a Facebook group called Mediumship and Mediums with 27,000 people now.
Wow.
And you can go on there and ask for volunteers to give readings to. And all you got to do is make sure you moderate the post quickly, because you'd have hundreds of people begging for readings. So there's no
Yeah.
excuse not to give readings when there's Zoom and a
Absolutely.
supply of people who want readings. So
Absolutely. That's so true. That's so true.
learn. And if you go to a teacher and it doesn't work well, you take a class and it doesn't resonate, find a better teacher, a teacher that resonates better with you.
I totally agree. I totally agree. So, how do you ensure ethical practices and maintain boundaries in your mediumship readings and in your teachings?
That I teach people, don't approach strangers. Don't give readings to your hairdresser or your server at a restaurant, because approaching strangers, I believe, is unethical, invasive, and inappropriate. And the rest is when you're giving readings, obviously come from your heart with the intention to heal. Don't take advantage of people. Don't pretend you're a medium when you're not a medium. Don't even say things like they're sorry for the spirit people if they're not sorry. Be sensitive and tactful. Don't call people junkies and drunks. You can say this person has an alcohol problem. This person has issues with addiction. Fine. Don't, all those kind of things. Be sensitive if you get unborn babies. Be sensitive about suicide. All those things I teach. It's not that hard. It's doing no harm, coming from a place of healing and learning how to be sensitive and supportive. It's also important for people to learn when they're doing mediumship and when they're doing psychic, because a lot of psychic people decide enhance their practice by developing mediumship also. But if you're giving a reading and you're connecting with a significant loved one, that's great and give evidence. But then if they go into psychic and start talking about the person and what they should do, they need to say, this part is intuitive, this part's psychic, as opposed to implying that your mother or spouse is telling you what to do in your life.
Yeah, that's a good piece of advice. I like that. It's like you need to distinguish between what type of reading you're giving.
Yes.
And I think it's also important that you brought it up. You need to be sensitive to the messages that you're delivering. Like,
Yes.
is it going to heal the person that's sitting in front of you, or is it going to create more harm? And are they ready to hear it?
Right. And never say anything that's going to cause stress or fear. With mediumship, you don't have to worry about that psychic stuff. Like, what if you think something bad's going to happen to somebody? Because mediumship isn't about predicting the future or telling people what's going to happen. It's about connecting with their loved ones in spirit for the purpose of love and healing for both sides of life.
I like that too.
Less potential for harm.
Gotcha.
As opposed to somebody telling somebody like, oh, you'll never have kids. You're going to have an accident. Somebody's going to die. Horrific things that are going to create fear in people's lives, possibly make them focus on it and just possibly be self-fulfilling. So we don't do anything like that. Ethical, evidential mediums would never do anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Before I ask you the last question, where is the best place for somebody who maybe wants to purchase your book, book one of your sessions, maybe jump into one of your classes, a retreat? What's the best place for them to go to?
SharonFarber.net, www.sharonfarber.net, and from there you can see my classes, my mentorship, my readings, retreats, and you can get links to YouTube videos, TikTok videos, Facebook, and all that other stuff.
I love it. I love it. So what is one piece of advice you would offer to our listeners who are interested in developing their own mediumship abilities, but maybe unsure where to start?
Take a beginner class. And if you want to make sure it's an authentic, ethical teacher, I teach them online pretty much every month. And it's $89 for 5 hours with a maximum of 10 people.
That's a good
And
deal.
often they're smaller. And you get the whole basics foundation and a chance for me to hold your hand while you give a reading towards the end.
Wow. That's a really good deal.
Because a lot of people, when they're trying to learn about mediumship, they take classes and it's about angels and psychic and all this other kind of stuff with the hint of mediumship. So otherwise, if you're going to find a class, find somebody who's going to teach you actual mediumship, not other things, if mediumship is what you want to learn.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sharon, for coming on Spiritual Spotlight series. It's been amazing to connect with you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel, for having me.